you who aren't familiar with the name Tim White, he was a referee for the WWE. However, his retirement was unfortunately cut short when he suffered a shoulder injury during a Hell in a Cell match between Triple H and Chris Jericho at Judgment Day 2002. White did return to referee a match between Chris Jericho and Christian at WrestleMania 20 in 2004. However, ended up re-injuring his shoulder, forcing him to retire for good. This prompted the WWE to create a bizarre storyline around this, which saw referee Tim White depressed, claiming that the Hell in a Cell match ruined his life. As a result, White attempted to commit suicide each week in many different ways, from trying to kill himself with a shotgun only to drop it and blow his foot off, wolfing down rat poison, attempting to hang himself, electrocuting himself with a toaster, slashing his wrist, suffocating himself, drowning himself, and even drinking a green liquid that was labelled as mad cow disease.
Research assistant! Somebody come and help! Mr. White! We need help right now! Somebody please come! Somebody please come and help out! Mr. White, please! 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 Somebody!
However, every time he tried to end his life, he was unsuccessful in doing so. Maybe he tried to end it all listening to Josh Matthews' annoying voice.
Hi, this is Josh. Who am I speaking with? Let's share your feelings. Come on, Mr. White, let's share. This is all about sharing now. Mr. White, what's that noise? Mr. White, what are you doing?
But in all seriousness, I shouldn't joke about this, as suicide and depression are serious issues. The fact that the WWE made over a dozen of these segments thinking it was a good idea to joke about these serious issues is beyond me, as it's distasteful and should never have ever been done in the first place. Fans are still in shock hearing Raw General Manager Kurt Angle reveal his big secret, that he had a long-lost son, who just happened to be none other than American Alpha's Jason Jordan. In other words, Jason Jordan was produced because of a broken freaking condom. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. No, it's not. Before the big reveal, Angle talked about how he dated a young lady, dated for a while and then stopped dating.
I dated a young lady. We dated for a while, then we stopped dating.
And eventually went on to reveal the big secret. Just seconds after doing so, Angle was probably thinking, what have I gotten myself into? But fair to the guy, he stuck with the crazy storyline and even managed to let out some fake tears.
My career could be destroyed.
It is going to be interesting to see how this storyline unfolds, but surely it won't be as bad as Hornswoggle being revealed as Vince McMahon's illegitimate son. Even SmackDown Live general manager Daniel Bryan couldn't help but take the mickey by tweeting to Jason Jordan's former tag team partner, Chad Gable, that he is his father, despite there only being a 5-year age gap between the two. Back in his days as a self-confessed sex addict by the name of Sexual Chocolate, the gimmick where he claimed that he lost his virginity at the age of 8 to his sister, yep, you know, that one. The world's strongest man, Mark Henry, was involved in one of the craziest storylines in the history of WWE. Henry, or Sexual Chocolate rather, was in a relationship with Mae Young, one of the pioneers in women's wrestling, who was 77 years old at the time, might I add. The storyline got even more weird as not long after Mae Young fell pregnant with Henry's child. As mentioned, Mae Young was 77 years old at the time, so she would have been deep into her years of menopause, unable to get pregnant naturally. But this is the WWE we're talking about. Anything can happen, as we found out in number 4. Anyway, Mae Young goes into labour and gives birth to a rubber hand. I'm just going to go ahead and give you a moment to let that sink in. A rubber hand. The storyline was just downright silly, and even the commentators could not help but to explode with laughter. Over a decade later, in a segment on Raw which featured the Hand all grown up.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Mae Young's son. All grown up. Proud of me, ain't you, Ma?
It's a hand? I just want to make that very clear to everyone. It's a hand. A rubber hand. There have been many strange and crazy storylines in the WWE over the years, but this is by far one of the weirdest. The WWE thought to create a segment which saw Heinenreich sexually assault WWE commentator Michael Cole. Heinenreich was a big, unhinged psychopath who would run in during random matches, attack fans, and recite hateful poetry. And Michael Cole, I don't need to say anything else.
WWE.
During the segment, Heinenreich traps Michael Cole in a locker room and then proceeds to thrust several times as well as breathe heavily. While it was never openly stated that Heinenreich raped Michael Cole, the sound that Heinenreich makes suggests otherwise. I'll let you be the judge of that. Heinenreich himself even alluded to rape in an interview and mentioned that Vince McMahon came up with the segment in a dream one night. So it's confirmed that Vince McMahon dreams of big, sweaty men and other disturbing things. Heinenreich said, "I'm just happy I was doing the raping and not getting raped." Rape, so maybe that's why Michael Cole has lost his touch on commentary. Okay, that's a little bit too harsh. I apologise for that. The Katie Vick storyline between Triple H and Kane was just wrong on so many levels, and made you feel embarrassed to be a WWE fan. The storyline revolved around a woman by the name of Katie Vick, Kane's ex-lover by the way, who was killed in a drunk driving related incident in which Kane was the driver. Triple H went on to claim that Kane was a murderer and had sex with the corpse of Katie Vick immediately following the crash. But that was not all, as Triple H decided to go a step further, and by a step I mean several hundred steps further. By reenacting his claim, he put on a Kane mask and proceeded to have sex with a mannequin that depicted the dead body of Katie Vick. After he finishes simulating necrophilia, Triple H exclaims, "I screwed your brains out."
I screwed your brains out.
The whole storyline was not well received by fans, unsurprisingly, and thankfully it ended not long after the disturbing segment. I think someone needs to maybe not agree with every single idea Vince McMahon has. It's gone a bit out of hand. If you didn't know already, we have an Instagram, Fact5 Wrestling, where we post daily wrestling facts. So, please be sure to give us a follow if you're interested. Alternatively, if you don't have Instagram, don't worry, as we post the facts on our Twitter and Facebook too. So please be sure to follow us if you haven't already, and like our Facebook page, as that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for all of your amazing support, as this is genuinely something that we all really love to do, and it means a lot to us that we can actually make this content for you. So again, thanks for watching the video, and have a good night. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like and sharing this video, as it really does help us a lot. Don't forget to comment below too, and we will pin up the best comment. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video from us. Lastly, for daily wrestling facts and more, follow all of our social media accounts, which are on screen and in the description. Thanks, and until the next video.